Greetings, everyone. Welcome back. It is Positive Friday Vibes, and it's Karen with Naturally with Karen. If you're new to my channel, please notice that I'm going to be sharing a lot about shaman, medicine woman ways. I'm a 58-year-old elder to some, not an elder to everyone. And I have a lot of medicine to bring. And medicine is a lot more than medications, which has the root word medicine. It's a lot more than just cutting it out of you with a surgery. And so probably around the late 1980s, I started saying there's a lot more to medicine, original medicine, than drug it, cut it out, and kill it out of you with chemotherapy. Whatever decision you've made in your life, that's what you've made. And we're all learning here on Earth School. So before we get started, what I want to do is send out a big shout out to my lovely sis, Kim. It's her Earth Day, Earth Light birthday today. So happy birthday, Kim. I'm with you in spirit, even though I'm in Northeast Minnesota and you're in New York. You're in Babylon. So I was at the gym this morning, and I did my hour on the elliptical. For those of you who don't know me, and maybe you're just joining me, I lost my son. He transitioned from Earth 3 months and a week ago. And because you see me not bawling and crying right now doesn't mean that I'm not in immense, horrid grief and pain, because I am. It's not easy for me. He's my only child, and he is my only connected biological family. And thank goodness I'm able to also still connect with him through the ancestral realm. And I'll share more about that as we go along. So these are going to be short videos. You'll be able to kind of go along with me. At the gym, I finished my hour and I went into the women's locker room where there's always a lot of women and also a lot of older women, my age group. There's younger women too, but Park Avenue Fitness. I've been a member there since I've been in Minnesota for 17 years, and I took about a year or two off and went back because it's icy outside. It's 16 degrees and it's slippery. I came home and suited up with a hat and a scarf and a jacket and another layer because at 16 degrees, when I go around the block, I don't want to get super cold. The sauna insulated me a little bit though. So in the locker room, I overhear what I overhear just about every day in some way, shape, or form. And I heard, have you heard from so-and-so? I'll leave the name out, omitted. No, no, I haven't seen her at all. Well, I mean, she was having some problems and she went to the doctor, and the doctor put her on the medication and then a little more medication. And, you know, her husband couldn't handle it anymore. And she started eating. And, you know, she gained her weight back because she was really thin. But next thing you know, she started having these horrible memory problems. And this is verbatim what was said in the locker room. And I'm standing there getting ready to get in the shower, rinse off all my sweat, and go into the sauna with my suit on. And so, yep, and now she's at an assisted living center. Now I have clients who come just for table and body work, and I want to really get into some detail about the superpowers that you have that you're really not using most of the time, that I've used with my clients for licensed and insured now for 17 years in Minnesota, and long before that in California. So I've had 40 years after the age of 18, 40 years, 4 decades, 4 10-year periods of time to actively seek out what is energy, what is unstable energy that we call anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia. This is all unstable energy. And what is stable energy? You see, the dogs know what is stable and stable energy because they can smell it on you. They can sense it on you. They're not formulating words and word sound in their mind. All they got to do is take a whiff, usually of your backside, right? Or your front private area. And they can say, oh, this is what she's eating. This is what her integrity is. This is what, you know, and that determines whether or not you're going to get bit. About 60% of the time, that determines whether or not you're going to get bit. So if you're carrying a lot of mental stress and you have unstable energy, you might think that thanks to George Washington, if you've ever read the biography of one of our presidents, right? George Washington, and Poker Face, Lady Gaga sings about it. we all put on this face, and we even put on all the makeup and the fingernails and dye our hair and everything else so that we don't show that we're not really feeling as well as we could. Because if we did, we would be exuding vibrance. And that's where I want to go. And even though I'm in a state of very deep pain and grief right now, having lost my child from the earthly realm, I've got to rise myself up, because if I stay in the mire, if I stay in the muck, it means that I'm going to suffer even more. My grief is going to be more pronounced if I stay there. Okay. So one of my clients came in, and she comes just for table work, like I mentioned a moment ago, and she's got massive or major depressive disorder. I was trying to make sure I was clear about that. Major depressive disorder. Her body is by all counts obese. Okay. She doesn't move her body sufficiently, like walking the dogs, like getting to the gym, really clearing the liver and the kidneys and giving them a chance to regenerate. I'm so thankful that in 1984, I started courses from a woman, Pamela Masters, and I want to give a series of short videos that talk about how I accrued the medicine that I know today. Because now, as I stand in the gym, or I stand on the elliptical and a man came in with his pad all ready, with the piece of paper ready, my doctor said, "Don't worry about GMOs." I said, "Of course your doctor said that." He goes, "But I've been doing the study and the GMOs are horrible." And I'm healing my thyroid. I said, "Of course they are, but don't expect your doctor to support you on that, because most of them don't know. Most of them are not trained. Most of them did not spend their life in the way that I did." Okay. So I'm a different kind of a person, a medicine woman, which is what we had for thousands of years before Hittite invasion, before males, and usually white males only, were placed into the business, which now has become an industry of medicine. Change is not difficult. So let's say that my client that comes that has major depressive disorder, who's on several medications, drugs to stuff down how rotten she feels. And rotten is a term I use intentionally. She feels rotten. Okay. The stresses of life are real. That's why I want you to observe me going through my own grief, my own sadness, the inflammation that enveloped my body, knowing that my only child, my closest friend, is gone from the earthly plane. It's not easy. It is stress. It is depression. It is anxiety. It is vulnerability as an aging adult. It is my companionship. It is my being able to pass down my medicine and my home and hold my grandbabies. It is everything. It's the worst possible thing that could have happened to me. At a center which I wish to have, and I hope to have, and I believe I will have, we would have a computerized file for each client that stayed a specific period of time based on their choice, based on their finance, based on their insurance. Eventually, hopefully, insurance would cover this. And people would be rehabilitating, rejuvenating, regenerating. I know you'll understand one of those words, because sometimes people go, "What does regeneration mean?" Well, I've been using it. It's been on my business card for a very long time. And I want to thank Dan, the regenerator, right? Because he's really the first one that came out that I was watching on a YouTube video. And, he'd overcome drug addiction and started juicing and sat in a hot tub and put his phone out there and recorded himself. And eventually, till he got into a great place. And Dan, the man, the regenerator, is phenomenal. So I think we all kind of borrowed regeneration from Dan and people like John Robbins. And we want to thank our ancestors and our elders for bringing the medicine, because it keeps us connected. It keeps us respectful. It keeps us with good manners. So if she was out walking, I did a hair tissue test right when she came in. We got her on our food. I got her on the appropriate supplements. I did sessions that were mind-body based with her, and on and on and on. She would no longer eventually be on the drugs and go out and be a person that is self-actualized, who's really genuinely living her life, okay, in a very much more heightened way, right? The same thing with the woman who was put on all the medications, right? So we're not really addressing healing, we're addressing treating, checking, scanning, and treating, but we're not really healing. To heal means that you've got to take personal responsibility. So it's easy. It's not difficult. Let me show you a couple of tools. Number one, I replaced this because a couple of people had broken my other one, and I got it from Pampered Chef. It's $3, and it's a citrus peeler. The downside is that I paid $8.95 for shipping for a $3 tool because I didn't know anyone that was having a Pampered Chef party right now. But Pampered Chef, I love your citrus peeler. I rely on it because I cut my nails extremely short to do table work. And I don't want to dig into the tangerine. I can bite a mango, but when it comes to oranges, and I'm going to go buy some tangerines today because they've been really good up at Whole Foods in Duluth. I want to use my citrus peeler. And so all I have to do is use this side right here where it's got the little hook on it and hook it in and peel it down. And it helps me to peel it without getting my hands all orange, Now, the other thing I want to show you that I think is really cool is these are made out of walnut shells and they're scrubbers. And if you want to join on Mighty Nest, the Mighty Fix, the Mighty Nest, it's at the bottom of my website where you can click and join. I make $5 for people that sign up. They take $11.78 out of my checking account every month. Around the 28th of the month is my billing cycle. And then every month I get something like I got a pack, I think a 3 or a 4 pack of these walnut shell scrubbers. Now you look at it and you think, okay, so what's the big deal, right? But I'm telling you, between the dogs and myself and everything else, I go through a lot of scrubbies. And I've got one of these in my bathroom to use on my kitchen sink, or my bathroom sink, and one in the kitchen. And I love them and I will buy them again because compared to the dollar store ones, these are amazing, okay? And lastly is I bought something yesterday. I went to go see Ryan speak about opiates. It's part of the LGBT and the American Fix, I think is the name of his book. And I listened to him talk. And then I also took the mic last night when they asked about if we wanted to ask questions. And I mentioned that I had, lost my son 3 months and 1 week ago. And that I was really put off by some of the emergency room doctors in Duluth at Essentia and St. Luke's. And I was really put off by the food that's being offered in chemical dependency treatment, especially the egg salad sandwiches and everything else that look like it's been on a hoagie bun that's been beaten and back. But I picked this up, and I don't normally buy deodorant because I don't normally have a lot of smell. But right now I'm detoxing. And I noticed that, I kind of had an unpleasant odor coming out of especially my right underarm yesterday as I was really working hard on the table with a gal. And I thought, I wouldn't really want to experience that if it was me on the table. Obviously, if I can smell it, she can smell it. So normally I don't buy deodorant, but on occasion I will. So I'm giving this one a try by Thayer's. And I've always used their Rose Witch Hazel. But again, I like to buy things when they're on sale. And right now this was on sale for $5.99. So I've got myself and I've got it on before I, go about my day. I give my dogs, I'm really, really, really trying my best now that I can kind of get a little more stable energy, which I did not have for the better part of 2.5 years, trying to help my son my very best through opioid addiction, where he had a reaction to the drugs that only 1% of the people have. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I want the dogs to eat more fruits and veggies, and they just don't want to do it. So I get them, they had the blueberry Cliff Bars, and I get them when they're 5 for $5. And so before I leave for just a short while today, when they hear the wrapper open on these things, they come over and they're like, ooh, we're going to get a treat. So I've been getting them the blueberry crisp and the banana ones and stuff, and kind of sneaking it in and getting them on a little more plant-based and a little more plant-based so I can wean them off of exclusively eating factory farmed or otherwise animals, okay? It's so much easier than you think. You can start your day with the tangerines, okay? You can get out and walk. I mean, gosh, 16 degrees is freezing and it was slippery and it's vulnerable. I'm 58 years old and by myself. It's slippery outside, but I suited up. I took it slow. I made it happen. And I'm going to go do some wonderful give backs today, um, helping a few people out. So I want you to know it's not difficult. You might say, but I've got really bad depression. What I don't want you to do is say, I'm just going to get rid of these medications right now. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is start building on habits of self love and success. And to do that, you can start your day with fruit or juice, like the orange juice I showed you yesterday. You can start your day by eating later instead of thinking that you got to get up and eat breakfast. That's really an outmoded thing. You don't need to eat breakfast. What you need to do is have your larger meal between 12 and 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock, depending on what your schedule is like and what your work schedule is like if you work or a 9 to 5 type job. And plan out your food, okay? In the case with my client with major depressive disorder, she eats cheese at night before she goes to bed and quesadillas, and she doesn't move her body, and she's built, straight up and down. She dyes her hair, and all of these habits together contribute to the body becoming down pressed. So in Rastafari, back in the late 70s, when I was being taught by some of the elders in San Jose, California, where I grew up, they would say it's downpression, and downpression leads to the depressive disorders that we're being labeled with, right? We're being down pressed. You've got to make more money. You've got to get up. You've got to get up to that alarm clock and you don't have the energy. It's Friday, okay? Celebrate it's Friday, have some positive Friday vibes. Get out and do just a walk around the block, okay? Get yourself some fruit juice. Get yourself some fresh fruit. Get yourself a peeler for $3, okay? If this is an upgrade, get yourself some Cliff Bars instead of a burger, instead of a chicken sandwich, okay? Start making these upgrades, and eventually you'll be in a position where you can go talk with your doctor or work with your coach, or you'll know it from within because your body is always communicating with you that, hey, I don't need to take a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, because what that does is it creates harm. All right. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining me. Make it an awesome Friday. So long.